What's going on, everybody? It's Matt, aka the Lumberjack Landlord. Super excited to be here with you on Sunday, as we always are. And yeah, there's a lot doing. There's a lot going on in the market. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about today was, are you prepared for housing in 2023? So as we know, the Crash Bros continue to be wrong, and that continues to be kind of a funny story for me, because I know that even though they will eventually be right in some ways, it's still going to be like, like their farts are perfume because they've been saying it for 5 years and they think that makes them right. Timing is a little bit important. If you're bleeding out, you need a tourniquet right now. Getting a tourniquet in 60 days doesn't help you, or 6 months, or in their case, probably what would be 3 or 4 years. It doesn't really help you. But I want people to be thinking about, in 2023 and 2024, really, how is your portfolio taking shape? Are you just starting out? Have you been doing it for a long time? Are you in growth phase? Are you in stabilization phase or optimization phase? And one of the things that I think a lot of people make mistakes with is not properly de-risking themselves. It's something that you hear a lot with, example, like hedge funds or stock portfolio management. We manage our portfolios much the same way, where we de-risk. Now, how did we start to de-risk? De-risking is not something that happens overnight. It's not something where you just snap your fingers and boom, I'm de-risked, unless you just sold everything. What really de-risking means is looking at your portfolio like it's a business, whether it's one building, one unit, or 200 units. The larger you are, the more you need to consider diversification within the portfolio. I like what Charlie Munger says. He's a famous investor. He's basically Warren Buffett's partner. And he says, diversification is stupid. Now, he's not necessarily wrong, but what he means by diversification is being in 17 different things. What he talks about is, if you're really firmly convicted in what you are doing, then you need to find things that fit that essentially that mode and that premise. So while it is real estate, the thing that made most people blow up in the late 2000s, 07, 8, 9, 10, 11, was variable debt. Like I've been saying for about a year, you're really starting to see this in commercial properties. We're absolutely starting to see it. We're absolutely hearing about, people walking away from leases. We're hearing about major defaults when it comes to office space and office buildings. And I can tell you that I've done conversions, and they are unbelievably and outrageously expensive. It's not a snap of the fingers thing. Again, the key to real estate and why I love real estate so much is that it doesn't move overnight, right? It doesn't move overnight. And there's not this like big inside cabal that can really, truly, overarchingly make a decision for an entire market. With the exception of rates going up, 1.5 if they did that in the night, yeah, that would make a little bit for a roller coaster ride. But that said, the Fed knows that they actually want stability, right? So what I would put to you is that are you prepared for housing in 2023 and 2024 is, are you diversified within your portfolio? My good buddy Dion talked financial freedom. Love my buddy. And he is diversified in the perspective that he has stuff not all in the same market. They're in different markets. It's still all small multifamily, which I love. That's the core of the strategy, right? And then it's diversified in these different markets. Absolutely love the strategy. Makes complete and total sense. I'm in actually 5 markets now. I keep on forgetting because I started in 2 other markets, and so I don't count them as all my other stuff. But I'm really in 5 markets now. Now they're all closer together, but they do service different areas, meaning that there's different job creators in those different towns. However, they're location-wise, they're next to each other. And so, if one's really starting to struggle, okay, people might move away, or costs, they might move to some other spot. But what I would tell you is that one of the ways, literally 2 years ago, I started to diversify was I started to pull on a different base, i.e. housing, and specifically Section 8 housing. Don't get offended if I call it Section 8. That's what most people still identify it as. So it is what it is. But once you look at Section 8 housing, right? We were looking at it last night, and right around 17%, thereabouts, about 17% of our portfolio right now is Section 8 housing, 17%. That's up from 0 2 years ago. Now, the reason that we started doing that was we wanted to diversify within our tenant base. So if we know that we have some people that work military, like Dion, some people that are Section 8, like Dion, but we add a fourth element. So we have Section 8, we have military, we have market renters, and then we have student housing. Student housing is awesome if you know how to manage it. It's one of the things that I teach in my absolutely spectacular, second to none value on the internet real estate investing course. We talk about management. We talk about management of your tenants. We talk about management of process. We talk about how to target properties in specific areas so you better understand them. And we teach you how to manage all that stuff. There are a million buying courses out there on the market, a million. The issue is how many out there teach you how to actually manage those properties day to day, communicate with tenants on the day to day, manage a problem day to day, when you should bring in your insurance company, when you should bring in your attorney, the kinds of questions that you should be asking your tenants to better qualify them. These are all things that we teach in the course. But the reason I wanted to talk about stabilization in 2023 market and 2024 market is that even if the morning shifts, even if the market, shifts heavily, we're well diversified. We have 17%, and we expect to grow that probably to 25%. We expect to grow that part of our market to 25%. We expect that market will be a larger share for us. But we still expect military to be about 10% or so. And then I expect market, that puts us at 25, and 10 is 35. I expect market for us will probably be around, probably also 35. That gets us to 70. And then a third, almost a third, will be student housing. I love student housing, and here's why. Most people believe, oh, students, they're just going to ruin the place. Do you know what my top 3 worst renters are by class? Not by amount of class that they have, but by essentially identifiable factors. We'll cover that in just a second. But we'll be about 30% in student housing. What that does is it gives us the ability to diversify within the assets that we like. It allows us to also buy and leverage different types of assets. We can do duplexes, tris, quads. We can do low density quad, high density quad. What I mean by that is low density a bedroom. You can do 4 2-bedrooms. Great. You're going to have likely all market renters or Section 8 in that unit. When you go student housing, it's never going to be that. You want to be more dense. You want to be 4-unit, or 4-bedroom or 5-bedroom or 6-bedroom. I own over 20% of the rental units in one of my markets. Over 20% of the available 4, 5, and 6-bedroom homes in that market. That means that largely I kind of set the price. People can try and undercut me, that's fine, but we curate an experience. That experience that we curate, as you guessed it, we talk about it in the course. We talk about how you curate that experience, what exactly that looks like, how exactly it works. You'll see Landlord Odyssey on here. He is one of the students from the Lumberjack Landlord course. What's cool about what Redion's doing is he started investing in a market, hadn't really considered student housing. Then he goes through the course and he starts seeing the numbers associated with student housing. Well, guess what? Renting that market A larger unit, a 4 or 5 bedroom at market might get you 2,500, might get you 22 or 2,300 from Section 8, might get you 25 or 26 from market. Student housing is 3,000. The reason that you'll charge 3,000 is because that's what the market can be, but you want to curate an experience for those types of tenants in that unit. It's not to say that if a family applied that you would say no to them, but it is to say that there's certain amenities that are going to vastly change the type of tenant that you'd likely get. Family with kids, what do they want? They want a yard. Do a bunch of college kids want a yard? I mean, maybe, but usually they're into like cool stuff. Like, do you have fiber in the house? Super high-speed internet? There's a lot of little things and little adjustments that you can make. So the question again comes down to, are you diversified? Are you prepared for 2023 and 2024 housing, regardless of what occurs? Crash, correction, massive appreciation, continued? You know me. I believe the median house price is going to continue to come down. I do. And the reason why is because the top of the market largely in most areas is pretty quiet. But if you're a median price house in minus or just above median price, that stuff's a little bit moving because rates, stabilized a little bit. The Fed's going to raise rates again, I believe, probably another quarter point, and then probably another quarter point, and then they're probably going to take a pause. But at that point, will rates on housing continue to follow that trend as well? Will they go up like that? So as I look at my portfolio, and that's why I don't give advice, that's why I just say, hey, this is what I see in my portfolio, and this is what I'm doing. As I look at that, I think what's really interesting is that, again, we've got 17% in housing, and we're going to move that up to about 25%. Right now, we're right about at that 10% number for military. So we might see, up and down, but nothing appreciable. It's not going to go from 10 to 20. Student housing right now, we are right around that number. We're right around 30%. What's really interesting is that in the last couple of years, the trend has been when they finish school, they still don't want to leave. They don't want to move home. They don't want to go out and get a really expensive place, even though they got a new job. You know what they did? They bought a brand new car. They bought a really expensive car. I mean, I'm not giving financial advice, but I think that's not the best idea. So they're still living with their friends. And hey, it's cool when you're 23 and you graduated and 24 and you graduated. Like, yeah, it's still cool to be with your friends and hang out with your friends and see them on the rig. Cool. All good. When you start to hit 25, people start to say, yeah, you know what? I've got a girlfriend, I got a boyfriend, whatever. I'm going to move into my own space and be with them or be set, or even be with just one roommate, just lower the density. Here's the beauty of my strategy when it comes to student housing. Do you know how many students we get that go from being students in those high densities to then being market renters in our other units? We have a lot. We have a lot of what we call return clients. So I would just try to give you the impression that from my portfolio and how I manage it, again, not advice, but more this is what I'm doing and might be something you should consider. So as you look to try to stabilize to then optimize your portfolio, it really works out a whole lot better when you have diversification of tenant base, but also understanding how that's divvied up. So I would encourage you, start to look at your portfolio that way. And it's not to say that you select one tenant over another, but if all things are equal, we got 7 applications yesterday on one of our units. We had a couple hundred inquiries. And then we just force back upon them. We appreciate your inquiry. Here is the standard. Submit that information and we'll get you to a showing. This is how I cut down on my time in doing showings, or I cut down on the cost of my agent doing showings. And yes, Emma's the best. But I want to cut down on the amount of work that she has to do that, quite frankly, will mean nothing. What's crazy is we had somebody actually apply, they qualified, but then their two roommates, literally hold on one second. I'll tell you exactly what it was. It was credit score of 460. And then the other roommate was 492. way too much risk at that point, right? Doesn't meet our criteria. It's not like it sort of doesn't meet our criteria. Like you're 150 off on the light side on credit score. You're allergic to paying your bills if you have a 490 credit score or a 450 or a 460. It's pretty bad. So hopefully that's food for thought. Hopefully that helps you. But again, as you look at 2023 and 2024, the most important thing that you can understand, I believe, in your portfolio and managing your portfolio, like we teach in the Lumberjack Landlord course, where the link is below for the syllabus. The most important thing that you can understand is, how am I diversified within my own strategy? And I think that for us, what do we know? We know that if the economy goes boom, boom, and I still believe that we're headed for some tough times in the economy, I believe that you will see a percentage of people that lose their jobs. Unemployment goes 6, 7, 8%, maybe, potentially to 10. But even if you believe in all this AI stuff, and maybe it goes to 12, we start suffering from a long-term unemployment issue with automation and robotics, which, by the by, I kind of completely love the new kiosk that they put in our McDonald's. Like, that is awesome. Sure beats trying to explain to somebody for the 7th time that I don't want onions on my burger. But these are the types of things that we have to account for. As the market continues to shift, we need to be looking at understanding we can't anticipate all that the market's going to shift, but if we have diversification, we're not going to get hit all at once. So with student housing, they're not going to stop giving out student loans. Now, whether you like that or not, whether you agree with college or not, doesn't matter. They're not going to stop giving out college loans. Hopefully they stop giving them out for silly things like basket weaving, but that's up to the person that wants to sign up for that loan. And that's up to the government to decide that they want to give out that loan. So I leave that to them, free market, from them deciding what they want to do. And so I look at my portfolio and say, all right, housing at 25%, those are all going to get paid. Housing, military, that's all going to get paid, largely speaking. It's possible that they could make a career change, but likely that that's still going to get paid. Market rents, okay, let's say we go to 10% out of my, 35% that stopped paying rent. Well, that means I've got like 4 places not paying rent, 5 places not paying rent. That's at 10%. That's a pretty bad number. We've never been anywhere near 2. And then I look at student housing. Student housing, again, they're going to continue to get checks. They're going to continue to pay because they're going to continue to stay in school, largely speaking. And there might be some there. But if I were all market and all of a sudden I hit 10%, well, now I'm looking at 13 or 14 units being empty or not paying that I have to then follow through on. Or with my market and my strategy, I'm usually looking at probably more like 4, maybe 5, even if the economy gets tough. So hopefully that was helpful to you. As I always say, we try and create great content for you here. So please make sure you subscribe. Love to hear your comments if you have any.